The search for Nancy Guthrie continues in Arizona, with investigators now asking neighbors to check their surveillance cameras for a man who's between 5'9" and 5'10", wearing a black backpack.
The FBI said, "We hope this updated description will help concentrate the public tips we are receiving." The reward for information doubled to $100,000. Investigators are now asking people who live within a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's home and everyone else in Pima County for home security camera video between January 1st, a month before she was taken, to February 2nd, the day after her abduction, seeking footage of anything out of the ordinary or important to the investigation.
ABC News Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky. The CDC is now reporting a total of 910 measles cases, with the outbreak growing at a rate 5 times higher than the average. ABC medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton.
And that means increased number of not only cases, but complications, hospitalizations, and inevitably deaths that all could have been prevented by increasing participation in vaccines.
Not to put a damper on your Valentine's Day tomorrow, but chocolate prices are up more than 14% over the initial weeks of 2026 when compared to the same period last year. That's according to the data intelligence firm Datasembly. The sharp rise in chocolate prices, which is about double what we saw over the beginning of 2025, is being blamed on a cocoa shortage caused primarily by adverse weather and crop disease in West Africa. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly
Terry,
chanting your own
Terry,
name, Terry. You deserve it.
Woo!
Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
4:05 now at News Talk KBNU, and I'm Will Feelright with your local headlines. Well, Governor Spencer Cox confirmed yesterday that he is negotiating with the state of Idaho regarding a controversial gas tax bill that has sparked tensions between neighboring states. Now, the proposed legislation, which is sponsored by Representative Carl Roberts of Draper, aims to cut the gas tax for Utah consumers while raising it on refineries. Now, Idaho officials fear that this shift could result in $250 million in additional costs for Idahoans, as much of their fuel is supplied by pipelines from Salt Lake City. Now, the dispute escalated recently when Idaho House Speaker Mike Moyle had threatened to cut off water flows to Utah. Now, it's a comment that Utah House Speaker Mike Schultz dismissed as being childish. Now, Idaho Governor Brad Little has also expressed concern over the potential financial impact. Despite the friction, Governor Cox remains hopeful for a resolution. The bill has yet to be made public. And the University of Utah has announced it selected social scientist and best-selling author Arthur Brooks as its commencement speaker for this summer. Now, University President Taylor Randall announced the selection this week, praising Brooks' work on human happiness and purpose. Now, Randall said that their graduates are stepping into a world where there is no better moment to reflect on how they can shape the lives that matter to themselves and to the world. Now, Brooks, who's a professor at the Harvard Kennedy School, is already a familiar face on campus. Since 2022, he has served as an impact scholar at the university's Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute and regularly visits the state to meet with students and leaders. Now, he previously delivered the commencement address at Brigham Young University in 2019. Now, his upcoming book, called The Meaning of Your Life, Finding Purpose in an Age of Emptiness, is scheduled to come out in March. And a Brigham Young University wide receiver is now facing a first-degree felony rape charge stemming from an incident that is alleged to have occurred last year. Now, Parker Trent Kingston was arrested on Tuesday and remains held without bail in the Washington County Jail. Now, according to charging documents, a 20-year-old woman had reported the assault to St. George Regional Hospital in February of last year. Now, she told investigators that Kingston visited her home on February 23rd of 2025, and after she had explicitly communicated that she did not want to have sex with him, police alleged that Kingston raped her. Now, a BYU athletic spokesperson confirmed this week that the university is aware of the arrest. Kingston is a redshirt junior from Layton. Well, we've got high school basketball coming up tonight as the high school's heading into the playoffs with Logan taking on Emory. That game will tip off at 7 o'clock tonight, and you'll be able to hear it here, beginning with our pregame show right around 6:50. Now, in other games around the area, Green Canyon is facing off against Pineview, while Skyview takes on Snow Canyon. Ridgeline is facing off against Dixie. So good luck to all of the local high schools. Weather-wise, we're going to continue to see a mix of sun and clouds the next several days as daytime temperatures have been in the high 40s today. Tonight will drop into the high 20s, and then we'll see temperatures in the low 50s through the weekend with a chance of rain and snow coming for the first of next week. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU local headlines.
This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance, and we are now Alera Group. This is great news for you. Now you have more choices and strength of a top national broker in your corner with our local personal service. Every situation is unique. Now we can tailor coverages from deductibles and limits to risk management, so it fits you even better. Let's compare options and tighten your program. Same friendly faces, same local office. Call 435-752-0101.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
It's the final game of the USU hockey season.
Senior night at the Eccles Ice Center.
7 p.m. sharp. Huge night as in-state rival Weber State invades Aggie Ice. Send off the seniors with a bang and celebrate Aggie hockey. Avoid the lines. Get your tickets early at usuhockey.com. usuhockey.com. And day of at the Eccles Ice Center. Final game of the season as USU hockey takes on Weber State tonight at 7.
Everyone has an estate, but do you have an estate plan? This is Jace Allen, Northern Utah's estate planning attorney. At Allen Law Office, wills and trusts are what we do. If you've been putting it off, now is the time to get it done. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones, protect your legacy, protect your assets. Start today at cashlegal.com or just search Allen Law Office. Wills and trusts are what we do. Allen Law Office.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Friday. Beautiful. Well, okay, gray, kind of wintry Friday, February 13th. I'm Jason Williams. 44 degrees here at the Radio Ranch. And it is time for the For the People movie show, a little bit of an extended movie show today. We've got a lot of catching up to do. And Andy is going to be joining us here in just a bit. I think that when it comes to movies, we're kind of picking up speed, but we're going to talk a little bit about this. The idea that the film I don't know if it's the distributors or the deals that theaters want, or I don't know. But there is... I think movie theaters are doing themselves a disjustice. We'll put it that way, in their releasing things to streaming a bit too quick. And that's going to, I think, be something that they need to think about. So this comes from a conversation that happened at a panel at Sundance, and it was, I think, they're talking about the fact that things go to streaming services, within 30 days of being in the theaters, and they were talking about, the fact that it had also kind of affected the way that the film festival had worked, and so a lot of people who bought films at film festivals, they would sit on them for 6 months, intentionally, and that was there was evidence, at least they believe, to suggest that there was some reasoning or some good judgment behind that. It was paying off. So we'll be talking about that. Some really interesting data today this week from just looking at box office trends, if you will. So that's coming up for the People Movie Show starting here in just a bit. Before we get to that, I'm kind of surprised this happened. So for, I think, 3 years now, there has been a conversation happening between, Colorado, the basin states as they're known, but Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, all a part of this. Wyoming in on it a bit as well. And basically the conversation has been, you figure out how to, let's back up a little bit. So the reality of the situation with the Colorado River is that for decades, more than 100 years actually, every state has been operating under an assumption of water availability that is not correct. An assessment that there was X amount of water available, and that was likely never the case. And so the Interior Department said to states, look, you've got a choice. You can come up collectively with a way to manage this water, and you can say, we're going to do it X way, and of course the federal government, the Interior Department, has to sign off on it. But you can do that, or the Interior Department will just say, okay, we did it. Here's every state's water allotment out of the Colorado River with respect to needing to keep the river healthy and things like that as well. And here's how it's going to work. And we gave you the option to actually do this yourself, but you didn't. And so we're going to go ahead. We went ahead and did it for you. The states have been working on this now for several years. And today, news that the conversations had basically broken down. The timeline for the states to reach a deal had come and gone. February 14th, tomorrow is the deadline. I don't know why the Interior Department set it under Valentine's Day as a deadline, but they did. And the 7 Colorado Basin states have failed to reach an agreement collectively. And so technically at this point, the threat was that the Interior Department takes over and they'll decide how the water is allotted with respect to keeping the river healthy, meaning you can't just use all the water, but also how it's broken up, each state. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that was the threat. This was bad news, to say the least, and it came up today for the Utah legislature as they wrap up week 4 of the legislative session, roughly the midway point. Well, that was yesterday, actually, on the 45-day session. Senate leaders were asked, what happens next?
I never give up until we're done, so we're always hopeful. So we'll do better together than we will apart. So and we probably won't comment a lot on it because we're hoping they'll come back together. So anyway, we're hopeful. Anybody else?
Yeah, no, I mean, usually those negotiations are the last hour, last minute. Yeah. And I know that they don't want to go to litigation, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
hope they'll get back together.
We've heard that they don't want to litigate, which is a good sign. And negotiations are tough sometimes. We wish them the best.
The governor mentioned yesterday that he's still hopeful, but this morning Arizona said we have no deal.
Well, I've heard that before.
Yes.
So I guess
when you're negotiating, that's part of the negotiating sometimes. So
well, we're just hopeful.
So you're not giving up hope, but the deadline's tomorrow, right?
Well, but deadlines come.
This is an issue.
I didn't say it.
This is an issue that has to be fixed. I mean, we're going to keep working on it, whether there's a deadline or not. We're going to keep working on it.
Yeah, we're. There's a few big issues in the state. One of the biggest is water, energy, and so those are big issues for us.
What does this mean for Utah if there can't be an agreement?
Well, we're still hopeful. We're going to work with our neighbors regardless. We heard a while ago from San Diego Water Board that there's a interest in desalination. We're still working there. We're trying to make sure we keep a good relationship with Idaho and Wyoming. We're dealing with them on water. We're talking to Canada. We're talking to Montana. We're talking to anyone will talk to us about water, and hopefully Arizona, Nevada, and California and Colorado can all come together. And we're not going to give up with talking to our neighbors, regardless of the Colorado River.
if I could mention something, I was able to go with Senator Sandel and then Joel Ferry went a delegation down to San Diego last April, I believe it was, and we talked, went to desalination plants. They have capacity there, the desalination plants, and they also had a huge $100 million wastewater treatment facility that just went online. So San Diego was very optimistic. They have plenty of water with what they've got available. So I think there's some opportunities there for California to work with Utah.
Senator Escamilla, any comments?
We want to see agreements, and we'd love to be helpful because we do have colleagues and friends in other states. So,
yeah, we do.
And wherever we can do to help, I think it's in the best interest of all states to come together on this one.
Anybody else?
Do you have a concern that with this deadline passing by, that the feds are going to get in and do what they said, make that decision for the states?
There is a concern, I think, but we hope, again, I think we said it multiple times here, that somehow there's a way for them to come together.
We do have a great delegation.
Regardless with the federal government intervention. The worst thing, I think we all know, and I think everyone at the table knows, is litigation. It just doesn't go well.
What do you know about the buyers of the Miller Sports Park?
That was, again, the legislative leadership, majority and minority leadership, talking about the news today that the Colorado River talks had broken down. Everyone expected some sort of deal that had been negotiated to be announced today, and instead the announcement was the talks had broken down, and the deadline is tomorrow. And the threat was, if the states, after working on this for 4 years now, could not collectively come to an agreement on how to manage water out of the Colorado River and keep the river healthy at the same time, the Interior Department, I think it was Ryan Zinke who first put this in place in the early years of the Trump administration, but they started negotiations about 4 years ago in the Biden administration, and the threat, going back to Zinke, was if the states can't do it, the Interior Department has an obligation to the people of the region to step in and come up with a water management plan. So again, Utah lawmakers confident that won't happen, but technically the deadline tomorrow, no deal reached. Talks have broken down again between the 6 states, including Utah, and we'll see. Everybody kind of watching to see if there's an announcement from the Interior Department on this. I'm guessing Senate President Stuart Adams is right and that won't happen, but not a good sign. They've had a long time to work on this. On the other side, lawmakers are also signaling what might be a deal with Idaho to, settle some nerves over this proposed elimination of the gas tax in Utah and replace it with a tax on refineries that ship refined fuel to Idaho and a lot of other states. The negotiations with the state of Idaho, the governor has said, are underway. And lawmakers today kind of hinted at what might end up happening, but still with an idea of doing something to reduce the gas tax for Utahns. What few details are out there? We'll talk about it right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Out here, hard work isn't just what you do. It's who you are. And at Black Cliffs Equipment, we're proud to stand beside you with Kubota tractors. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 36 months. Or save up to $4,500 in instant rebates on select Kubota models. Plus, we carry genuine Kubota parts and offer fast repairs. To thank you for what you do, mention this ad when you come in for a free gift. Black Cliffs Equipment in Hyde Park and Far West.
Now through 2/28/26. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Here in Utah, we're built different. We're built for winter. Whether you're getting the kids to school on a snowy morning or tackling a slick commute home. And at Murdoch Volkswagen, we're built to get you through it so you can head out with confidence all season long.
This month, lease a new 2026 Jetta Sport for only $299 per month or up to $4,300 off a new Atlas.
You've got to come and see us at Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochvw.com.
Call 888-391-6083 as you dealer for complete details. Offer expires 3/2/26.
Love is in the air, and it smells amazing at Cox Honeyland and Gifts in Logan. This Valentine's Day, skip the ordinary and treat your sweetheart to something unforgettable. From adorable gift baskets to rich, melt-in-your-mouth fudge and popcorn that's bursting with flavor, this is sweetness done right. Plus, discover beautiful spring decor that says you're one of a kind. Give the gift of joy this Valentine's Day at Cox Honeyland and Gifts on South Logan or online at coxhoney.com. Love is sweet, and so are our treats.
You've changed your diet, you've tried supplements, you've Googled things at 2 in the morning, and you still don't feel like yourself. This is Dr. Josh Redd with Red River Health and Wellness, and we have been helping patients like you for years. Now, we're offering more options for people who need more than surface-level fixes. Advanced therapies like ozone treatment, IV therapy, hormone optimization, and peptides are now available as part of our expanded care. These services are designed to support healing, energy, clarity, and balance, especially when your body needs extra support. No cookie-cutter plans, no pressure, just medically guided care that meets you where you are. If your body's been asking for more, this might be the answer. Red River Health and Wellness, because your body deserves more than guesswork. Learn more or schedule a consultation at redriverhealthandwellness.com.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today.
Aggie basketball is heard here.
You know, there's a pride in this.
KVNU is your station for the best game day coverage. With pregame beginning 1 hour before tip-off, play-by-play and post-game interviews and Aggie call afterwards. It's Aggie basketball on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM. Online at kvnutalk.com and the KVNU mobile app. The Heritage Home for the Aggies.
You might remember we started this session with the Senate President and Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, reacting to a study that was done showing that, well, implying, at least, not inconclusively, but with decent evidence, that Utah has the fastest declining fertility rate in the country right now. There are two parts to that to really understand it, I think. One, you have to understand we were way up there. Number one in the nation for a long time. Fertility rate, number of children born to number of women in the populace is how they measure that. And so we were way up there. And so we had a further distance to come down. But so we're still not, we're 10th in the nation now. But the amount of time that we went from number 1 to number 10 is what kind of caught everyone's eye. It was a rapid decline over a decade. The research suggests that this is an affordability issue. That it's too expensive to have large families, or for some people have children at all, or people are putting children off longer. That might be contributing as well. Housing could be an issue if people can't get out of their rental or their apartment because they can't afford a home or there aren't any available within their price range. That can affect the decision. Anyway, so we started the session with lawmakers saying we have to address this. We have to do something to to encourage people to have families in Utah. And today during the Senate media availability, there was a defensive moment when a journalist, Daniel Woodruff from KUTV, said, Brian Malahy, not Dan Woodruff, Brian Malahy from KUTV News, Channel 2, said, it was a simple question, said, what are you doing this session to make good on that promise, to make life more affordable for Utahns? And you would think that he had called them the dirtiest name in the book, the way they responded. It was a very defensive moment, which the question didn't warrant. Anyway, here's a bit of the conversation that played out after Malay asked that question.
Well, a lot so far, and I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in. Senator McKay just through the Senate, I think we have a reduction in income tax. There's, I'm trying to think of what else, other reductions we've had.
We're moving our childcare bills, so I mean, that's affordability.
There's a lot of these bills that are moving through, though, that do lead to affordability, and especially of a new home. And those are, what you're really asking is a question. We're only part way finished. Some of those bills have crossed over to the Senate, but haven't come to the floor. Some have gone the other way. But really, it's a little bit too early to tell yet. I'd ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll probably have an answer for it.
Yeah, one thing we have seen, because we've been focused on affordability, maybe not this session, over time, is we've actually seen some, and I'm not going to say why, there's probably multiple reasons why, but we're actually seeing a housing, at least in apartment rents, level off and maybe even come down a little. So that's a positive thing. And then I just was sent a survey today, and Andre, I don't know if we have part of that. It's at least something that I don't know who did it. Do we have a source for it?
Yes. That in a second.
They looked at the increase in incomes of all 50 states. West Virginia had a median income, I think, in the mid-50s, and they dropped down. Their current median income right now is in the 52 range or something. So they actually decreased by a couple of $1,000s for their median income. Only state that decreased over the last 20, 30 years. Utah had a median income in the 40s or 50s. I have to look at the data. Our median income now is around 80. We had the largest increase of any 50 states in income increase.
That was Senate President Stuart Adams responding to the question, what have you done recently or in this session to make life more affordable for Utahns, to encourage people to start families? And I had to laugh at that. There was silence for a minute after Malay asked that question, and then Senate President, a bit defensively, says, a lot. A discussion broke out about this. How much credit can state lawmakers take for median income increases, and what policy they might attribute that to? Generally, that's more to do with the general wages of the nation and the state of the economy of the nation than any specific state policy you could point to. But they did, Senate President saying we did reduce the income tax. That didn't end up being a lot of money, though, for median income earners, someone pointed out. And then there was just more silence, and they moved on. So I don't know what the answer to the question was, but a lot. We'll be back with the For the People movie show. Get it underway a bit early this week so we can finally be caught up on everything we've missed with my time off for the film festival recently. Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com joining us in just a bit after this look at the news with KVNU's We'll Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A Magna man is facing felony charges after allegedly threatening high school students who walked out of class to protest immigration policies. Cheyenne Jacob Webb, a 34-year-old, was charged earlier this week in 3rd District Court with aggravated assault, a third-degree felony, and disorderly conduct. Now, the charges stem from a February 5th incident near 3500 South and 8400 West, where students had gathered to protest immigration and customs enforcement operations. Now, prosecutors say that Webb engaged in a heated verbal confrontation with the group, screaming and rushing toward them despite adults' attempts to intervene. Now, according to charging documents, Webb reached into his truck in a way that led students to believe that he had a gun. Now, he is also accused of reversing his vehicle at a high speed toward a student who was attempting to record his license plate number, forcing that teen to dodge the truck to avoid being hit. Now, police affidavits cite video evidence of the encounter, including footage of Webb yelling, quote, "I'll show you, gangster." And a Salt Lake City teenager is now facing multiple charges after police say he used the roof of City Creek Mall to try to break into a downtown hotel earlier this week. Now, Juan Camacho, an 18-year-old, was arrested at a Main Street track station after allegedly fleeing from officers. Now, he's charged with property damage, criminal trespass, failure to stop at the command of law enforcement, and also disorderly conduct. Now, police responded to a security report of a man on the roof of the Marriott Hotel in Salt Lake City. Now, officers discovered a broken third-floor window and observed Camacho leaving a hotel room. Now, according to court documents, mall security reported Camacho stole fire extinguishers and sprayed them in hallways. Now, hotel engineers estimated the window repair would cost between $3,000 to $5,000. Now, Camacho told police that he was looking for a way off the roof and pushed the window open, claiming that it was already broken. However, investigators found a shoe print on the glass that matched his footwear. The police said that Camacho had a blood alcohol content of 0.130 at the time of his arrest. And a Harriman man is facing felony charges after allegedly scamming buyers out of thousands of dollars in a fraudulent sports card scheme. Gentry Lee Cameron, a 40-year-old, was charged yesterday in 3rd District Court with theft by deception and communications fraud. Now, prosecutors allege that Cameron agreed to sell high-value trading cards, including Michael Jordan and Joe Burrow items, but instead shipped cards that were worth only a couple bucks. Now, charging documents state that on January 24th of last year, a victim paid over $5,100 for specific cards, but received a different package. Now, Cameron allegedly claimed a shipping error and promised a refund, but that never arrived. Now, in October, a second buyer reportedly paid $1,300 for same cards. Now, he allegedly received cards valued at only about $5. Well, we're going to continue to see some pretty nice weather over the next several days as temperatures going to warm up this weekend, get into the low 50s with overnight temperatures in the low 30s. But we have a chance of that rain and snow coming for the first of next week. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU local headlines.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Hours left to go now before an expected partial government shutdown. Lawmakers left D.C. on recess today without striking a deal on DHS funding. Democrats have been holding out for reforms to immigration and customs enforcement. The U.S. is growing its military presence in the Middle East, sending another carrier strike group to the region in an effort to pressure Iran to strike a deal on its nuclear program.
President Trump continues his blunt talk when it comes to making a deal with Iran over its nuclear program, leaving open the possibility of U.S. military action.
They give us the deal that they should have given us the first time. If they give us the right deal, we won't do that. But, you know, historically, they haven't done that. I will say they want to talk, but so far they do a lot of talking and no action.
The president said he does not want Iran to have any nuclear enrichment capabilities. He has previously said the U.S., quote, obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities.
ABC's Karen Travers,
I
this
swear,
is ABC
every
News.
dad thinks the thermostat is a personal challenge. You turn it up, 5 minutes later, he turns it down. If you're warm, he's losing. You know what I'm talking about, right? But here's the thing. Dad might not be wrong. You might just need better insulation. Call Cardall's Insulation. Honestly, most homes are not adequately insulated. Cardalls uses high-performance insulation that stops cold drafts and keeps your home warm so you don't have to blast the furnace. Call Cardalls Insulation at 755-5012 and call a truce with Dad, 755-5012.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Stocks started to rise on an inflation report that calmed Wall Street worries about the economy and artificial intelligence. The Dow added 48 points, the S&P was nearly even, the Nasdaq lost 50 points. The latest report shows inflation slowed last month by more than economists were expecting. Consumers paid 2.4% more for groceries, clothes, and other costs compared to a year ago. It's still higher than the Fed's 2% target, but lower than December. Applied Materials rose 9%. The company, whose products help make chips and displays, reported a stronger profit for the latest quarter than analysts had expected. On the losing end was DraftKings, which fell 13%, even though its profit for the latest quarter topped expectations. It gave a forecast for revenue this year that fell short of expectations. Sex workers at a brothel in Pahrump, Nevada are fighting to unionize. If successful, they'd be the only unionized brothel in the United States. Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
From all of us at Christine Haas Allstate, thank you. We've been named silver winner for Best Insurance Agent in the 2025 Best of Northern Utah, and it's all thanks to you. We couldn't do what we do without your support.
Do you know a champion in our community? Nominate them for the KVNU Above and Beyond Salute. Every Friday morning at 8:30, we'll spotlight a firefighter, law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or other deserving individual and give them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Help us recognize the champions in our communities. The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Kicking it off a bit early this week, it's time for the For the People Movie Show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com. And Andy, welcome. Actually, a quick note for listeners, because I forgot to mention this at the start of the hour. I was able to attend and help out a bit with the Cash Republican Party / USU Republicans debate with county attorney candidates last night. We do have that audio. It will be uploaded to our podcast. And then for those who don't podcast, I'll have some highlights for you on Monday's show. There was this really cool moment where the debate had ended. The debate was scheduled from 6 to 7, but Natalie, chair of the Cash Republican Party, told me, hey, if you have additional things that pop into your head, and at 7, we can say everybody that wants to can now leave, but anybody that wants to stay, we're going to keep the conversation going. And I asked a question that was related to a transparency issue the Speaker of the House is making a lot of noise about right now, opening the courts up a bit in the transparency world. And then Sheriff Chad Jensen was there, and he asked a question about the future of certain proposed justice reforms, the state not funding them very well, which was a real headache for county sheriffs, the future of funding for jails and things like that as well. It was a great question, and so there's some bonus audio as well. So I'll have highlights for you on Monday's show. Anyway, all right, now the For the People Movie Show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com.
People have been like, we're just waiting all day and week.
Sorry, I just realized that I was going to mention that at the start of the show, and I completely spaced it.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There is no shortage of news.
That's
these days.
That's the understatement of every week forever.
There's no shortage of news.
Especially with the legislative session underway.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started. You know what? I'm going to take 30 seconds here. I love when
they did the film incentives funding, Movie Boy.
I love all the bills where you're reading this and you're going, what?
Why?
And I'll just say this again.
That's my question of this session. Why?
I'll throw this out to Governor Cox and to all the hooligan, down in the legislature. I just want road lines that I can see when it rains. That's all.
I really.
That's it.
And so there's a debate over UDOT sort of forcing some decisions on Salt Lake City, and the League of Cities and Towns and Cities are very upset about this because, it's not really about Salt Lake City. It's about should UDOT have this power to tell a city how many parking spots can be on a street that's not a UDOT managed street that just connects to one. And so it's a real debate about state power versus local power. But I'm watching this play out and think the same thing. When it rains, I can't see stripes. I don't think UDOT has the time to be managing streets in the cities. I think they need to talk to whoever they bought this paint from.
Yeah, no, and here's my favorite is I think Governor Cox last year was like, Utah, we've heard you. We are going to change the road lines. We just have to do like a 3-year study to see what kind of paint. Hey,
it's still a task force
I'll tell you
working on it.
You don't need to get a task force.
Why don't you just go to a state where it works and ask them who they're buying from?
Or just come to my house, drop off the 3 cans of paint. I'll take a paintbrush. I'll just go out to the highway like Kramer, and I'll just paint a few road lines. We'll let it rain, and I'll be like, yep, bingo.
Like Kramer.
Yeah, it's like we're putting bills through to be like, look, we know that you. My favorite thing in Utah, living here my whole life, is I vote by mail every election, right? And it doesn't matter who I vote for, right? We are always firmly a red state.
Yeah,
and so it always makes me laugh when they're like, there's some dicey things going on. There are people voting that should not be. Even though, yes, 99.2% of the vote went to our elephant friends. So
that's why I think they should. Anytime they make that argument, I think the first response should be, all right, let's redo the last election for every House member and state senator because your argument here is that the
this
vote
might be void.
Yeah, the vote was invalid. And,
but that's my point. Like I'm starting to get to the point. I've always been one of those people my whole life where I've been like, oh, why don't people care about politics or like politics? But as maybe this is entering into my get off my lawn stage of my life, but I look at and I think, you know why it is? It's because like a lot of times we just don't really feel as citizens that there are real world applicable things that are making our lives better. You know what I mean?
I think there is a problem, not just in Utah either. I think there is a problem with people feeling a bit like their elected leaders are disconnected from what they're dealing with in their real lives.
Right, because elected leaders, I would say most of them aren't worried about, what they're paying for gas. They're not worried about. Dan McKay down in Riverton doesn't worry about his mortgage. You know what I mean? He doesn't worry about.
That was a weird thing for him to just announce.
Oh, the landlord thing?
Yeah, but for him to go that route in the middle of that debate saying, look, I don't worry about paying my mortgage. Well, yeah, Senator McKay, a lot of Utahns do.
Yeah.
I thought that was,
65% of
those
Americans.
Types of things, you can't be that out of touch.
No, they're insensitive. And part of it is, whoever you want to point blame to, 65 to like 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So most people, that means 3/4 of everyone you're talking to has to worry about their mortgage. That worries, if something goes wrong, if I get sick, I lose my job, some prices go up at the pump, at the grocery store, it's going to make it harder for me.
Have you followed that at all? This is my favorite thing of the legislative session so far. And the governor says they're talking and we're working on something, but the Speaker of the House of Idaho. So Utah's Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, has a priority bill, which means it will pass the House at least. And it All it does is I don't remember if it eliminates the gas tax or reduces it greatly. One of the two. It might eliminate it.
Oh, right.
And then to still get the revenue off of gas, because that's how we pay for roads and schools. And,
apparently not.
They're gonna add the exact same the equivalent tax so the state gets the same amount of money in revenue that they're getting from the gas tax, but instead they'll get it by taxing the fuel that leaves Utah's refineries for other states, and Idaho's one of them.
Yeah.
And the Idaho Speaker of the House said, and I'm not exaggerating, he said, a lot of our water runs down to Utah. Maybe we'll just talk about changing that. And
how's that going to work?
I actually LOL'd, as the kids say, when he said that. But Governor Cox today said that they're talking, they're negotiating to see if they can work something out. But
you know what it becomes? It becomes this. It's like the bill, where like, hey, you know what? If we're going to give you state money, we're a Second Amendment state. So if somebody wants to bring their AR-15 to the Jazz game, Did you see they shot that down today?
I'm good. I was surprised. They said they thought that was going in not going in the right direction.
No, I'm a gun owner, but I'm telling you right now, I'm bringing my gun to the Jazz games.
Let's all sit in a stadium.
I know.
We'll
Can
pour
you imagine
just a little bit of alcohol on a few people, because you've seen those people at the Jazz
my
games,
gosh,
right? That have
right?
been to the concessions one too many times.
Oh my gosh! Can you even? I'm not trying to predict tragedy.
Everybody's
but, oh my
calm
gosh.
at a Jazz game, right? Especially this season.
People are so stupid. Like, it's the same thing with like churches and things like that. It's like nobody wants to be looking over their shoulder with a place where they're supposed to be having fun.
Yeah.
And it's not that we think like people are irresponsible, but there are people that are not there.
Speaking of this, this surprised me, because I don't know, maybe this is my privilege of some sort speaking, but I had not thought about this since it was in Colorado, and it was one of the Christopher Nolan Batmans.
Oh, the 2012. That was terrible.
This kind of struck me. This was at the not at the film festival. This is when I went to see Iron Lung.
Okay.
Met some friends in Salt Lake at the Gateway, and there was a woman there who asked. We just kind of, there was hardly anyone else in the theater, and so we just kind of sat where we wanted, despite where our reserve seating said. And there was a woman that came in, and at first we were a little put off by this, but she asked if we would mind scooting down. And my first reaction is, there's a whole theater empty. Really? But then she quickly explained, and she said, I'm sorry, I have struggled with this since the Aurora, Colorado shooting. I don't like to be in these seats. Yeah. She didn't want to be right there on the corner, where if someone came in with a weapon, with ill intent, she'd be the first person they ran into. And it struck me that is still something, and this, I think, is a reasonable fear.
Yeah.
Sadly. But yeah, it was striking that was still hanging around somebody. But speaking of, sorry, you said being safe, when you're out having fun. But do you think about that in theaters at all? I mean, is that ever...
Sometimes
I don't even pay attention when the little thing on the screen says know where the exits are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
just follow the people running.
Sometimes
that's my plan.
I would say sometimes
if there's a fire or a flood,
I don't know. Maybe I should think about it more. But I think sometimes we get so moving from day to day in our lives that we just kind of forget about that until a tragedy comes up. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, it just is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
derail.
I like I said, I think about we've got to the point in our existence, again, not to keep on this thread, but where we've seen school shootings, we've seen shootings at movie theaters, we've seen shootings at restaurants, at bars, and on the street, workplaces, every possible place, and so it's just like, I don't understand why we would. Can you also, not to again continue this, but I just think, like, when you're thinking about that bill, like, this is why I think I don't think these are real bills. I think these people that put these bills forth, that's doing it to almost satiate that fringe constituency that is hearing these type of things, like, on these like pundit shows, you know, or like Glenn Beck, you know, or whatever, Ben Shapiro, the list.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, and I think what ends up happening is, again, because think about it. If let's say a bill like that did pass in Utah, the first thing that happens is the NBA says, we won't have a game in Utah.
Well, and I think
that's costing jobs, it's costing revenue, right? It doesn't just hurt Ryan Smith.
So the word for this is performative politics.
Yeah, that's the word. Yep.
The Utah legislature was kind of inoculated against this for a long time, and sadly, the current leadership, Stuart Adams and Mike Schultz, have not been as hard line about. So in previous Republican majority leaders would say, no, we are not our time is so limited in these 45-day sessions that we get once a year. We are not wasting time on this performative politics garbage. Senator Wayne Niederhauser, the Senate president, used to say that out loud. And current leadership has not been of the same mind, but it's unfortunate because oftentimes they're not really doing the work of the state and the residents of the state when they're busy doing that stuff. So it's, all right.
Yeah,
we got to take a break, and then we come back. We'll talk about movies for sure.
We can talk a couple things. Wuthering. That's the old grandpa version.
Wuthering Heights.
That's actually a love story.
Guy with one of those lozenges.
That's a love story about the romance between the
microphone really close to his mouth
around Terry Werther, the creator of Werther's. That's not someone's like, is that his real name? No, Wuthering Heights, and then we'll talk also, what's coming, and then best. We would do this every Valentine's Day, like kind of like what are our favorite romantic movies? Aw,
so
Jason,
we'll get the on right after this.
People can say what they want, but flowers still make a girl's heart melt. I know, because that's how I feel every time he sends me flowers. If you want to have that effect on the girl in your life, call Plant Peddler Floral today and get them ordered. Call right now and it's done. You won't have to think about it later. Just make the call, give them a credit card number and her delivery address. Call Plant Peddler Floral at 753-0444. Send her flowers, make her heart melt. Call Plant Peddler Floral, 753-0444.
There are moments that shape a lifetime, from first plans to first steps, backyard throws to big wins. And for the biggest decisions, who you choose matters. Where life starts, home begins. Bank of Utah Home Loans. Find out how Bank of Utah can serve you by going to bankofutah.com. Bank of Utah is an equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 422914.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible for a United Healthcare Dual Complete plan if your Medicaid status has changed. A Dual Complete plan may help you get more benefits than original Medicare alone. Visit uhcdualplans.com to learn more. That's uhcdualplans.com. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan, andyatthemovies.com here in the studios. This is studio. There's just one.
I'm a little disappointed in you today, Jason.
My music choices?
No. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. We've been doing this show for a long, long time. And and I know you know how much I love a George R. R. Martin train hat. I mean, I don't even own one. I've wanted one for so long, and
I've been scouring Amazon for one less than $10.
You didn't get me one. That's a real bummer. I was actually planning on putting that on someday in retirement.
Did you see?
And not doing anything, just like George R. R. Martin.
Did you see Martin is he's not even pretending anymore?
Yeah, he's just like, I don't
finishing the books or...
Yeah.
But I assume this means you want to talk quickly about Dunk and Egg.
Well, I was going to say, people keep reposting that clip from Logan Lucky where they have the prison riot and they got the prisoners.
Such a funny scene.
Yeah, they take over that. And then on their list of demands, it's like, we want a Dance of Dragons because they don't have that in the library, the prison library. And then they said also Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring.
Yeah, like that. And then if they don't get that,
Yeah,
they're not going to
release the
They're not going to
guards.
release the guards.
And
I
then-
thought that was so
and then
funny.
the prison warden's like, "Okay, guys, so we got you a copy of Dance of Dragons, but who's also played by Dwight Yoakam, which is actually really funny.
That was funny too.
And then he's just like, "But there is no winds of winter or a dream of spring," and the guys are like, "Wait, what?"
And the riot breaks out.
Yeah.
That is a hilarious.
Yeah, he's honestly, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I was just thinking 10 years ago, the spring of 2016 was season 6 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, we were already saying, all right, the show's going to pass the books.
Yeah, because season
and George
5.
Martin's like, but not by a lot.
Yeah, he's
That
like,
was
I still might get it
that
out.
was a decade ago.
I still might get it out, even
when
though
he was saying it might come out
Yeah.
before they get too far ahead.
Even though he was sitting at his desk in front of his word processor, because he probably still uses a typewriter.
And now he's like,
and he looks
I bought
over
a movie theater.
And he looks over and he's got 4 sheets of paper. And 2 of them just say "By George R. R. Martin" or whatever. Anyway,
My theory is on this. I
don't think he cares anymore.
So as I watched, I've only seen episode 1 and half of episode 2 of The Knights of Seven Kingdoms. For listeners, this is on HBO Max. It is a prequel, but not really. It's a story from the Game of Thrones world that kind of has nothing to do with the Game of Thrones story. It's just in the same world, and it happened 100 years before or something. But it's one of the coolest stories. It's worth watching, at least from what I've seen. But George R. R. Martin is directly involved. He's actually writing this one, and people are mad at him because he's not finishing the book.
Well,
instead,
this is again. I'm just going to say this. This is my prediction,
and he doesn't look well.
This is my prediction. There's only 2 ways that this can go, and I mean this sincerely.
I wonder if he's intentionally waiting so everybody forgets the HBO series.
Well, I mean, it's been
finishes.
7 years since that ended. So
that's a good point.
But the internet never forgets. Let's point that out.
That's true.
Here's what I would say. Here's my prediction. My prediction is that
No, go ahead.
No. We'll put it as a little teaser. I'll tell you on
Okay.
the other side
what happens with this.
I'm just going to tell you how this is going to land. The Game of Thrones plan, the book plan, the plane, how it's going to land. Because there's only 1 of 2 ways it can go.
Okay.
Maybe 3 with an asterisk.
Okay. Andy's George R. R. Martin, Game of Thrones, HBO, all that prediction. His Wuthering Heights review and most scenes in Valentine's movies, or in movies in general. That's coming up as the For the People movie show continues right after this here on